You worry about it, freaks. Big Sil's in the house. How you doing? David Bowie always says this. Make them want more. National Football Show. Welcome aboard. Big Sil's here. Please hit the like button. Thank you so much for coming aboard. Woo! This is a week. You know why this is a week? This is a week that you're going to be finally tested in the 2022 season. Because this Tennessee Titans team, come Sunday, is going to give you your first game of the year. Oh, yeah. You know why, folks? They do all the things. You're not doing well right now. Absolutely. Plus, in all fairness, the injuries have started to take its toll on the team a tad. Not horribly, but in key positions. In key positions. So you know what this is going to have to mean? Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw the ball. Oh, my God. Let's take a look at that. I've written down a couple numbers here. Here are your top 10 passers in the game. Jared Goff. Aaron Rodgers, 2,682. Wow. What a heck of a year. Rodgers is having a down year. Derek Carr, 2,730 is 8th. What? Jalen's got to be on this list. Kirk Cousins, 2,760 is 7th. Wait a minute, not this guy. Geno Smith is 6th in passing yards in the NFL at 2,802? Can't be. Can't be. Justin Herbert has 3,000 yards. 3,004 yards. He's 5th. Jalen's got to be on this list because, you know, he's a great passer. So far from 10 to 5, I don't see his name. Tom Brady, old man Brady, get off my lawn, is 4th, 3,051. Top 3. Hurts has got to be in here. Your top NFL passer so far this year. Joey B, 3,160. This is heading into week 13. It's 3rd. Josh Allen, 2nd. Jalen's got to be on here somewhere. 3,183. And number 1 is Patrick Mahomes at 3,585. Where's Jalen? You're going to have to beat the Titans throwing the ball. Wait a minute. Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith is 6th. Geno Smith has more passing yards. Geno Smith than Jalen? Geno Smith. Herbert, Brady, Burrow, Allen, Mahomes. Yeah. Those are your faces of the NFL. That's why they look at those guys differently than Jalen Hurts, because he's nowhere to be seen on this list. This is a fantasy football dream right here for the league. These names. Now, guys that run RPOs. Woo! Whoa, man. Plus, you have the greatness of Jonathan Gannon. Holy cow. Yes, sir. You're going to have to throw the ball this week. Hey, here's Xander. Yes, Sills. Okay, wins and win percentage. Jalen Hurts. Well, Tua hasn't lost a game this year as a starter. So, if you want to be fair, it's one of the Alabama quarterbacks, right? Tua hasn't lost a game. Whoa! Where's Jalen's name on this list? These are the top 10 passers going into week 13. Passing game is improved. Mahomes 1, Allen 2, Burrow 3, Brady 4, Herbert 5, Geno Smith 6, Kirk Cousins 7, Derek Carr 8, Rodgers and Jared Goff. This is going to be a fun football game. This is going to be an old school football game, and they do everything you're not doing well. And they do it well. How you doing? So you really think that Jonathan Gannon is going to blitz like Cincinnati did last week? I'll take my bet. I think that Derrick Henry goes for 150 and maybe north of 150 on Sunday against the Eagles. Easily. Hey, how about this, Xander? This will be the first game, actually, that the front and center superstars of a football game will be Alabama guys. Usually you don't have a lot of superstar Alabama guys in the NFL. There's not a lot of superstar guys from that program. You actually have two dudes that are going to be headlining this thing on Sunday, Derrick Henry and Jalen Hurts. Wow. And you can't play the run. Your secondary's banged up. This is going to come down to Tannehill versus your non-top 10 guy. He's not a top 10 passer. Even the numbers dictate it. He's not. He'll never be. Yes, sir. This is going to be 23-20. I'll bury Friday's prediction. 23-20 Titans. Oh, Henry 150 and north of it. Tannehill might throw for 250. Oh, yeah. This going to be a little bumpy. Is the Eagle defense in trouble the next 6 games? Because of CJ being out and your inability to stop the run. Oh, I know we signed Joseph. You went to the bus stop and got 2 guys. And now you're going to have to stop Derrick Henry. And your DC doesn't do what Cincinnati did. I talked to Duke Tobin, the general manager of the Bengals. He said the only reason and the only way that they were able to beat that Titans team is because they came up with exotic schemes on first and second down. Your dude ain't doing that. He going to play that soft-ass umbrella defense. Let's get back here and worry about Ryan Tannehill beating us. And you think he's going to put 5 guys in the box? Take one of his DBs out of the secondary? No. Oh, no. By the way, boatload of stuff today. Coach of the Year candidates. I have a vote. Executive of the Year. We'll do some of that. So you think Jonathan Gannon is going to slow down Derrick Henry on Sunday? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Michael, I don't hate Jalen. I don't give a shit about Jalen I don't know him. Why would I hate? Here, Michael, and everyone here, I keep hearing people say that I hate Jalen. I don't know Jalen to hate him. I don't know him. I don't know him from a can of paint, and nor do you. I don't know him from a can of paint. I don't hate people I don't know. I don't call people I don't know racist or misogynist or any of those other I don't do those things because I don't know you. I never would call that on Jay. I don't hate Hurts at all. I despise the style because it doesn't win. And I'm going to put a point out here to you in a minute here. I will say this on this day, December 1st, until it happens. That style of football that the Eagles run and the Ravens run is not conducive to playoff football in January and February. It's never been. That system is not winning a Super Bowl. It never has. And it never will. You take on 2 good complex defensive coordinators and You take on people. Why do you think the Titans got bounced last year? They were the number 1 seed. They couldn't make plays in the passing game. Why did the Ravens get bounced? Because they can't make plays in the passing game. But you're different. Okay, sure, whatever. All you can do on December 1st is daydream and hope that that style wins. You have no context of that system winning. None. Zero. Nada. There is absolutely no context. Why in the world would you have fantasy dreams today on December 1? Is that what it is? That's fine. However, it's never happened. But now it's going to change. Okay. Because it always does. How many times did Xander and I do this on a Monday after a playoff weekend? God, I got to get me one of them guys that could throw the ball. I don't see your guy on here. You're going to have to throw the ball to win in the playoffs. And I don't think you can. You don't spread it around. That's evident in the statistics and in the numbers that you have. What I'm saying to you is that this is a really great regular season offense like in Baltimore. Hey, Lamar Jackson's won 75% of his games. And when he gets into the playoffs, he gets bounced by guys like Mahomes or Allen. Why? Because they make plays in the passing game. Nobody that has a high-powered offense that's going into the playoffs runs the ball 49 times. Nobody. And nobody will, except Tennessee. This is a great matchup. You guys are mirrors of one another. Your quarterback's better. He's better. Jalen's better than Tannehill. That's a fact. He could do more because he's a running back and an RPO quarterback. See, that's his distinction now. Jalen Hurts is not a pro-style quarterback. He's an RPO quarterback. He's not a passing quarterback. He's an RPO QB. Okay, not a problem. You're 10-1, right? You're 10-1. This defense I'm more concerned about than Jalen Hurts, actually. Jalen's going to play great on Sunday. I completely believe that. I do think Jalen's going to have to throw for 330 yards in this game to beat them. He's going to have a 300-yard game. And is he capable? Yeah. Especially AJ with the emotions he's going to be playing with. But he'll be the only guy because he don't spread it around. Facts in the numbers. And facts in the numbers, when I say this, they become trends. NFL teams go by trends. And the trend is they've gone to more running plays than passing plays, have the Eagles. Am I right? They've gone more to that. Okay. It's still resulting in winning. It won't in the postseason, though. Ask the Titans. Too much. Too much. The whole NFL is going that way? Really? You think they are in Kansas City or in Buffalo? Really? One of those teams are going to be teams that are going to be at the end of the day. Ain't going to be a running team. So you think actually that they're getting away, and most teams de-emphasize the running back, but you think they're going back to running backs instead of paying wideouts $25 million. That's the way the league's trending, my man. No, it ain't. The reason you're paying wideouts $25 million is not to block in the passing game. It's to catch footballs. Why do you think the wide receiver position is valued more today than the running back? Teams don't run the ball today. They throw it. The salaries dictate it. $25 million Tyreek Hill. What back in the league makes $25 million? Oh, wait. Every wide receiver is making north of 20. Shit, they're talking about Justin Jefferson at 28.5. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Can the Eagle offense win a Super Bowl? Give me context of that offense winning a Super Bowl. Give me one. In 103 years of pro football, and let's see how far you have to go back. The Dolphins? Give me one. Give me one. Allen, 2 picks tonight. Allen will be a star. What a quarterback. Burrow just beat the Titans. Yeah, because Joe Burrow has Joe Mixon and he's Joe Burrow. How many touchdown passes did Joe Burrow have in that game? Let's take a look at that. So he threw up that. Let's take a look. I love this here. Let's take a look what Joe Burrow's stats were this last week. 230 yards throwing the ball. Let's take a look at that. I thought they did a really good job against Derrick Henry last week defensively. Ryan Tannehill's stats.
Here's a summary.
No, excuse me.
2022 season stats.
Joe Burrow stats. 270 yards he threw for, not 230. A touchdown. Look at that. Look at that. Look at Burrow, man. 270, 355, 267, 481, 382. Man, that's a quarterback. That's a guy that gets it done right there. Yeah, because they blitzed them, Razor. You won't do that. The 90s Cowboys. Yeah. This reminds me of the 90s Cowboys without Troy Aikman running. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want the Eagles to lose. Why would I want that, Bruce? Bruce, you're under some sort of craziness. I would never want the Eagles to lose. Absolutely not. You know why? It's not good for my show. Why in the world would I want them to lose? So everyone doesn't give a shit about their team? Nobody wants that. Nobody roots for that. I would never in a million years root for the Eagles to lose. I just give you my professional opinion on what I see happening this week, and I think you're going to be outmanned. You're surely going to be outcoached. Oh, yeah, Sirianni versus Vrabel. The reigning NFL Coach of the Year. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably thinking that's right. Yeah, all right. Joe Burrow lost to Cooper Rush. Joe Burrow won the AFC. He is the defending AFC conference champion. You could take your little Cooper Rush loss to the Cowboys. I'll take his big ring. AFC champions. What happened in the playoffs last year to the Eagles? They went, hey, can I show you what they did? Oh, hold on for a second. Let me show you what they did. Do I have? Damn. They flipped the coin and the game was over. They went like this. Look, here's the coin flip in the Buccaneer-Eagle playoff game. They flipped the coin, the game was over. Heads, tails, it doesn't matter. Flip the coin, that game was over. Hey, just like this. Look, here's my NFL. They went like this. Here's the coin toss for the Eagles and the Buccaneer playoff game. 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 The ref in the middle of the field went like this. Game. I was sitting down. I had my Coke. I had all my beer. Xander, ref goes like this. Buccaneers will defend this. Game. Oh, man. Jimmy G. Oh, my God. Oh, Burrow was picked when? Oh, Burrow was the number 1 overall selection in the NFL draft. Yeah. Hey, right. Hey, Jersey Dolphin. Game. See you on Broad Street. So your little RPO offense is going to win a Super Bowl, huh? It's like watching Kansas versus Kansas State. And speaking of that, Barrett Brooks will be on with us at 5:10 Eastern today. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Hassan will be the difference, really. They're going to – guess what Derrick Henry's going to do to Hassan Reddick? You remember Josh Norman, who got his face pushed in and is forever like a looping GIF on Twitter? Hey, Hassan Reddick is going to be a moving GIF on Twitter come Sunday night. You're gonna think Derrick Henry's going for another Heisman. Him and Archie Griffin, he's gonna win 2 of them. Okay? Absolutely. This is gonna be a great football game. All kidding aside, this is gonna be a great football game. I think this is gonna be one of those games, man, that you're gonna sit back and you're gonna see a lot of physical football. That defensive tackle that they have, Simmons, can play. And they're going against the best O-line. Look at the matchups, man. All kidding aside, this is really kind of my favorite football. I think CJ's loss is going to be pretty big in this game. And I do believe that Jalen's going to have to throw the ball to win this game. You're not going to run the ball on them. They're 3rd in the NFL in rushing. You got one of the better front sevens, and you got maybe the best defensive tackle in the game. This isn't some by committee stopping the run like you guys are. The Eagles are by committee stopping the run. We're getting Jordan Davis back. In what shape? And is he back? Are they going to activate him for the Tennessee game? Have they? Now, I wouldn't probably do that until Friday, game time decision, because I'd still want you to have to game plan it. It's all in good fun, William. That's all it is. People get themselves all in a serious, dude, this is not politics. No one has to hate anybody here. It's not politics, okay? Always remember that. We're talking sports. Always remember that. It's sports. Don't need you to get your panties in a bind. Danny, I actually like Blankenship. There were a couple plays that I think he made this past weekend against the Packers that he'd probably want back. But I think that comes down to reps. I really do. I think that comes down to reps. So to me, I think he's going to be okay. But without CJ back there, you have the number 1 guy in interceptions. Those are takeaways. Your takeaway ability has been taken away from you in a player of CJ. CJ could probably would have made the Pro Bowl. He may have led can you imagine what he is missing out on now? Here's a guy that's leading the National Football League in interceptions, and he's going into a free agent year. He would have commanded enormous money. Actually, Eagle fans, best thing ever happened maybe is that CJ got hurt, because you know why? His market value will not be as high because his numbers, if he led the NFL in interceptions, there is absolutely no way on the planet he's coming back to Philly. But now he's probably going to miss the rest of the regular season. Had a great year anyway. The Eagles know that. And they'll be able to come in under market value. And depending on what they do in the postseason, he may re-sign. And he may re-sign at a lengthy contract. Okay, so Nobody stopped the offense yet? What, your tremendous passing game? Jimmy J. How are we going to pay him? Because Howie loves paying injured guys. Okay. Howie's not going to pay CJ. We're not talking about a knee injury here, my friend. We're talking about a guy who had a freak injury and a lacerated kidney. There's no shoulder injury here. There's no injury to the knee. And there's no structural injury to CJ. I'm okay with his injury. Okay, I want him back, but I'm okay with that injury. It's not an ACL. Guy coming back from a lacerated grade 3 injury. He hasn't needed surgery yet. It's grade 3. We're not talking about a grade 1 where we're talking about surgery and he's out for extended time. He needs some rest. He may be back in 2 weeks. He may be back in 2 weeks. Jimmy Goomba. Let's be real. Eagles got most of their points from turnovers. And I think also, too, JM, being dominant at the point of attack and running the football. They've done a great job at running the ball. 900 yards for Henry. I think he's second in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's second in the league in rushing. We'll see how Jimmy G performs without Christian McCaffrey and Debo. Why? We've already seen how Jalen's playing without Goddard. Passing game has gone to shit. Running reps have gone up. Why? Your guy's gone down too since the loss of Goddard. No? Or what? That only works for Garoppolo when he loses players around him too. How's Brady played this year with the offensive line being out? You think that's like a trend for only Garoppolo or all quarterbacks? How's Aaron Rodgers played this year without Devontae Adams? Good or bad? Good or bad? I like Blankenship too. I think he could play in there, but I don't think it's still a drop-off. It's still a drop-off from CJ. Offensive player of the week? Who? Oh, I got that written down. Patrick Mahomes, baby. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, Xander's right. The only guy that doesn't seemingly need a wideout is Mahomes. Absolutely. Justin Jefferson also offensive player of the week. I don't. Right? Will Henry run for 1,000 yards against the Eagles? Yes. Yes. And Derrick Henry's going to have a field day on that defensive line. I'd love to see Mahomes without Kelsey. The only reason and only way that Patrick Mahomes would not have success is if Andy Reid's not the play caller. Patrick Mahomes is going to he's got the guy in his ear that is telling him where to go with the ball. He's teaching him how to play the quarterback position. Brian Dable not being in Josh Allen's ear is a factor. It's a thing. When you've got Brian Dable's impact on the Giants has been what? Incredible. That incredible impact on the Giants was taken from the Bills. What would make you think when you take talented people away from talented people that that's not going to be a non-factor? You're out of your mind. Whether it's a coach, a position coach, play caller, coordinator, anytime you lose people like that. Look at what the Bears did after Buddy left Chicago. Were the Bears the same defense after Ryan left Chicago? They started to disintegrate, and in 3 years, they were not the same unit. And back then, there was no salary cap. It was just an inept coordinator who took over for Buddy. And Buddy's Eagles took off in the East. Anytime you lose talented people, I don't care where it is, in business, in sports, in politics. You suffer. That's why, for me, when you look at the people that you've lost, Dallas Goedert is a massive loss to the passing game of the Eagles. And you've seen it the last 3 weeks. More carries for Jalen. They're trending that way, not throwing the ball. Where have they trended in throwing the ball? It is an absolute lie to say that they have. You have had to rely on being one-dimensional in a way. Watch this. Has Jalen improved as a passer? Of course he has. Anybody in their right mind would say, but still not part of the game. That's why right now you're limited. You're limited. Here's what happens in a game like this against Tennessee. And just go with me here. You're not coming back against a team like Tennessee if you can't stop the run, because they're going to play eagle ball on you. The number one thing that can happen in this game on Sunday for the Eagles, if you get 3 and outs, if you start getting 3 and outs in the passing game and Tennessee's able to run the ball because your D coordinator refuses to run blitzes on 1st and 2nd down, there's no chance for you to win that game. They get up 14-0 on you and start going on 10-play drives, it's over. It's over. Now, their secondary is not very good. Okay? Their front 7 is. Okay? Their front 7 is. To me, the Eagles, the game tempo for this game on Sunday against Tennessee is pretty much going to be played out in the first quarter. Who can run the ball the best? Who can defend it? This is, like I said, old school. Watch this, legal. You can't stop the run. They run the ball with the best back in the game. They're 3rd in rush defense, and they got the best D tackle in the game. I don't know. Your tight end is a non-existent player come Sunday. 0. You are playing with 10 players versus 11 because your tight end position is garbage right now. Facts. You're injured and lack of depth in the secondary will be a factor. Ryan Tannehill is going to throw for a bunch of yards. You know why? Because Jonathan Gannon allows all quarterbacks to. No matter if you're Tyler Heineke or you're anyone else, he'll make the average guy look sensational. And he has. That's been the MO and the trend. That guy makes garbage quarterbacks look good. Why? Because he wants to keep everything underneath, and he doesn't believe in blitzing. Now, if he had a different fundamental philosophy, you got to get to Derrick Henry like Cincinnati did last week. Cincinnati got to Derrick Henry, you know how? Run blitzes, bringing corners off the edges, bringing safeties. Don't let that guy get going. Derrick Henry gets through the line of scrimmage, he's off to the races. That has been his model of how he has dominated the NFL in rushing for the last 6 years. He gets running downhill, he's unstoppable. He's unstoppable. Unstoppable. Okay? That's an unstoppable play. You know, Jalen's playing really great ball. Well, that guy's unstoppable. You guys are going like this. We got stopped against Cincinnati. Yeah, because they completely knew that Tannehill, and by the way, let me throw this at you too. Let me throw this at you. So Ryan Tannehill still has an ankle injury, and he's still nursing the ankle injury. Will Jonathan Gannon blitz him, move him around in the pocket? He's hurt. He's hurt. I am 100% sure he's not. You're going to allow an injured quarterback to not have that ankle tested because he doesn't want to get beat deep. And you're going to allow Derrick Henry to get going. That's why this game will be close, physical, and tough. And most likely you'll be outcoached. Jim Schwartz, heck of an influence on that defense. You could see it the way they move around. You can. You could see it the way they bring pressure, too. Schwartz bringing pressure. You could see it. I see Jim Schwartz's influence on that Tennessee defense. They got 14 guys, by the way, on IR. 14 guys. You should blow that team up. You won't, though, because your coordinator will keep them in the game. By the way, if you notice one thing, I'm not saying one thing. You know who's going to keep the Eagles in the game? Jalen Hurts. Jalen's going to take a beating in this game. He's going to take a beating. And they're going to need him big time to win this game. You're at home. You should win. But I don't believe it. If they can stop that run, all bets are off and they're going to win it. But I don't believe that your coordinator is going to do what it takes to stop him and threaten Tannehill. Do you really? You think that Jonathan Gannon is going to bring first and second down blitzes and corner and safety blitzes to stop Henry and to test the ankle out of Tannehill? I don't believe that. Polly goes, he likes Hurts today. It has nothing to do with whether I like him or not. I don't give a shit about that. Liking somebody. What's that got to do with winning? Liking. Of course, everyone likes a kid. You don't win Super Bowls with that style. Plain and simple. That's it. It's the only reason he would never be my quarterback. Ever. Ever would I have an RPO quarterback running my system. I would never have that. I would never have a quarterback like that. Because I'm not taking advantage of today's NFL. The passing game. This is a league of throwing the ball. It's why Hurts will not win the MVP. Is Jalen as important to the Eagles as Mahomes is to the Chiefs? Absolutely. It's not the point. And you know it. Billy Ray, that's my point here. Billy, Jalen's going to keep you in the thing. He's going to keep you in it. No, I don't believe the Eagles are soft at all. You don't. Hey, Eric, I think Jonathan Gannon's mentality is soft. But I do not believe that Eagle organization or that roster is soft. Absolutely not. You can't run the ball for 363 and call it soft. No way. No way. That would never be something that I would put in a conversation or in a sentence with the Eagles. Eagles soft. No way. Soft schedule, but not soft players. Or soft approach. I don't believe they have that. At least we didn't lose a playoff game on a coin flip. Hey, right? Niners. Buccaneers and Eagles last year, playoff game. 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 Big Sills, is it fair to say that Gannon is our weakest link? His mentality is the weakest link. You want to know something too? 5-star? He's not a bad coordinator. He just doesn't do anything creative. Dan Quinn is trying to fix the run defense in Dallas with his own players. Jonathan Gannon runs to Howie and asks him for more players. Who do you think is more creative in how you put a defense together? And by the way, don't think Mike Vrabel didn't watch that special teams disaster on Sunday. Okay? What, you don't think that teams are going to start taking advantage of that shitty special teams? There's 3 aspects to a football game. Offense, defense, special teams. If you want to go for coaching, I'm suspect on both coaching and special teams. And so are you, and you know it. I'm not worried about the defense against Tennessee. I'm worried about our offense because it's one-dimensional. Let me say this to you. If Tennessee stops the run, it's going to be a tough game. Danny, do the Eagles have better chance to win with Minshew? No. No. They need that running component, Danny. Minshew's a better passer, but he's not a better quarterback. And his decision-making on the field is superior to Minshew. Jalen has way more ability in how he plays the game than Minshew does. Minshew's a passer, okay? He can win games. But the way Jalen thinks himself around the football field, I would never want that off the field if I was Philly. Because he is so smart on the field. One of the greatest assets that Hurts has is his smarts. He's so smart. He's such a smart player. Knows when to get down, all of that. JM, I don't know if Tennessee's going to be able to contain him either. That's going to be another battle to watch. If they can set the edges on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. I think they're going to have to set the edges. I think Mike Vrabel's good enough to do that, though. Hey, guys, you want to hear something personally about Mike Vrabel? In my opinion, I think Mike Vrabel will be the next head football coach in New England once Bill Belichick steps down. That's your next coach, Mike Vrabel in New England. Mike's too good to be in Tennessee and then not and let guys like A.J. Brown walk out the building. I mean, from what I'm understanding now from Mike, I know Mike Vrabel very well. And Mike Vrabel did not want that happening. He did not want him. I guess they offered him $16 million. Then with incentives, it came up to $20 million. And it was all built in incentive-based. And he said, nah. It just, the whole thing fell apart just with the conversations. Tennessee, another fraud playoff team. Yeah, because they run the ball. And by the way, San Francisco's not a fraud playoff team. They're 4-2 under Garoppolo. Last year, they went into Dallas and beat Dak, and they went into Green Bay and beat Rodgers. You went into Tampa Bay, and it was this. Game. Before you start talking shit, the coin toss was the only thing competitive in that Bucs-Eagle game last year. Patriots 24, Bills 19. Maniac, my boy tonight, Josh Allen. I had a great conversation with Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator. They're working on it, baby. We wasn't even supposed to be there. Oh, no, it looked it. It totally looked it. Goodbye. Game. Game. 34-23. Okay. You allowed 33 points against Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. And you're going to stop Derrick Henry because your great coordinator's ready to coordinate. Yeah, okay. Right, last year, different team today. Now it ain't. You have no tight end. Your second wide receiver is a non-factor in your offense, and your number one receiver hasn't showed up in 3 weeks. What's different from last year? Your quarterback. That's why I'm telling you. Jalen is the only reason you're in this game Sunday. You have no tight end. You might as well just put put Andre Dillard in there. I mean, seriously. You might as well put Andre Dillard in there. You have no tight end. Your second best offensive player right now over the last 3 weeks has been Miles Sanders. And you're going to need Miles Sanders. Okay? So now you think AJ won't show up for this game? No. I haven't seen him in 3 weeks. But you do? Okay. I can't wait. Hey, I think you're wrong here. I'm looking forward to this thing. This will be your biggest test of the year. Because this team is actually pretty good. And with 14 guys hurt. He may not have the numbers, but he looks good. Made some big plays on third down. 205, that's one of the greatest things that he's done this year, Jalen Hurts, is that he has kept that offense in third and short almost the entire year. And that's a key component to how they are now at 10-1. You rarely see the Eagles third and long. And when he does get into third and long, he's able to break down the perimeter and create running lanes. Remember, they always will resort back to what? Running. They're never going to resort to throwing. That's not who they are. That's why the last 3 weeks, the numbers are going up. It's trending this way. Your passing offense is trending down, and your running offense is trending up. How many people have 363 yards rushing? Those are passing numbers, 363. Not running numbers. Now, some would go, okay, Sills, well, to each his own on how you get to the finish line. Agreed. But you're one-dimensional still. You're not multifaceted. That's not a dual. When you say dual threat, where's the threat in the duel in the pass? Where's the threat? You haven't had a threat in 3 weeks. That's why in one of those games you've lost. Titans aren't as good as the Vikings. Oh, I think they are. I think they stopped the run. They're third in the NFL in rush defense. Oh, absolutely. And they got a better running attack. And they got the best back in the game. And they utilize it and they win. I think Minnesota, anytime they have to play a physical team, look at the physical teams that they've played. They've been killed in them. Tennessee's a physical football team. And what is Tampa doing this year? Get over last year. Don't worry, you'll get a hold of Brady. Here. Buccaneer. And by the way, Brady in Tampa against Jonathan Gannon. Game. This is my Mark Gastineau. Should I get mine? Nah, let me leave that there. This is my Mark Gastineau, 2-time NFL Player of the Year coin that Mark gave me. And from now on, watch this. This is here. Jonathan Gannon versus Tom Brady. Game. Oh, man. That's your new team. No, it ain't. You've lost your Pro Bowl defensive back, your Pro Bowl tight end. You can't stop the run. That 10-1 record, man. Ooh, looks good. Let's see what you end up with. I can't wait to see what the ending record is. 6 games left. Got a bunch of running teams on there, baby. How you doing? So when the Eagles even play Brady, Tampa getting out of the first round? That's right, Bill. You take a guy who's never done shit in the playoffs versus a guy who's got 7 Super Bowl rings. Hey, I can't even talk to you with a straight face, Bill. Bill, I can't talk to you with a straight face. Yeah, they may not even make it. And don't get bounced in the first round. A guy with 7 rings versus a guy who last year game. We stopped Taylor. This is a different dude. Sills, I will say we have shown the ability to have a high end passing game. Yeah, with Goddard there, though, 205. When Goddard's there, it is a good passing game. It is. You don't have him. Do you not see how it's trended down since his absence? This is not a Jalen thing. This is a personality issue that the Eagles have now. Devontae is a non-factor in your passing game. He's a non-factor. AJ is the number one threat. Actually, Jalen's the number one threat. Then AJ, then Miles. You're playing with 3 dudes on offense right now. And you're throwing 5-yard wheel routes to Devontae Smith. That's your offense. Jalen Hurts is doing everything. There's really nobody in the last 3 weeks that has done shit, Miles, because you run the ball. That's right, Shakir. That's the point I'm making. Fully healthy, the Eagles are by far a better football team than Tennessee. Hey, maybe I didn't make that emphasis enough. You're a way better team, but you're not healthy. As a matter of fact, you're probably at your worst. You got an injured left tackle, no tight end. Your wide receiver has played like shit the last 3 weeks. Your run defense is spotty at best. Now you lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I don't know. How do you look at the team and look at it as the same team as a month ago? That's impossible to make that distinction that it is. It's not. I'm just pointing out reality here. You're not the same team you were a month ago. It's got nothing to do with player production. It's got to do with player availability and injuries. The reason that the Eagles are 10-1 is because of the number one thing that I said at the beginning of the year. What was that? You remember, guys? Xander? Eagles may not have the best roster, but they got the deepest roster. They got the deepest roster in the league. And they're going to be able to overcome this stuff. And they have. And they have. Oh, my God. Here's Elliott Shore Parks. Here's statistics. Biggest concern with the Eagles right now isn't special teams. First 7 games, 245 passing yards. That would be 5th in the NFL. Last 4, 174. That would be 31st in the NFL. Overall, the Eagles are 19th in the NFL. They were 21st last year. You're basically last year's team right now. That's kind of all I've been saying. Can't believe it, but we kind of were in sync, both of us there, for the first time this year. And again, I don't believe it's got anything to do with talent. I think it's got to do with availability of the players that you have in your huddle. Your passing game has gone to hell in a month. You're not going to win games throwing the ball. You're not doing it. Okay? I mean, again, fully healthy. Do the Eagles win that game at the Link against Tennessee? Handily. Probably. Even though I'm suspect on your D coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. I don't believe Jonathan Gannon knows how to defend people. So now he can't defend quarterbacks, and now he's going to defend Derrick Henry. So he's going to pull a guy out of the secondary and have a 5-man front, that 50 front. He's going to do the 50 front. Tannehill will rip them apart, and Tannehill is mediocre at best. We all know that. Nobody's sitting here trying to say, Ryan Tannehill 2 weeks ago threw for 331. And again, like I said also, he's got a hurt ankle. Why wouldn't you blitz him? He won't. Richard, what's up, brother? Could Quez have a big game? You know, that's great and all for Quez. I want Devontae to have a big game. I need Devontae Smith. He's a better player. Why can't Devontae get involved and get a 100-yard? Can we please get a 100-yard game from him? I mean, can we? How many 100-yard games has Devontae Smith had in his 28 games as a Philadelphia Eagle? 2? Honestly, how many 100-yard games has Devontae Smith had in his career? It can't be more than 2 or 3. Can we please get some more? How many how many has he had this year? Let's take a look this year. 2? Devontae Smith's stats. Let's see. One, he's had one. So this year he's had one, the Washington game. Yeah, it's only his second year. How many has Jamar Chase had in his time that he was? How many has Jalen Waddle had? It's only his second year. How many did Justin Jefferson have in his second year? That guy had 130 catches for 1,500 yards with Kirk Cousins, who you say sucks. I mean, so Devontae Smith has 3 100-yard games and 28 games in the NFL. That's terrible. It's terrible. For a first-round wideout, Heisman winner, it's terrible. Hey, legal. Yes. He's open every play. Boy, I'll tell you what, last week, I even heard Mike Quick on the broadcast going, hey, I know Jalen takes off and runs, but Devontae's wide open. You got to get the ball down the field. Mike said that in a subtle way because Mike didn't want to be too much of a hammer on it, but I heard Mike in the broadcast on IP going like this. Guy's open the entire game. He was open in that Buccaneer game for 2 quarters until they found him in the third. He has been a non-factor since he's been an Eagle. 0. 300-yard games? How would you say that his career is going so far in Philly, Devontae Smith's? How do you think his career has gone? Good or bad? Or do you want to add another column? Average. I think it's below average. Remember when I told you when I first came here, what was the first thing I said? Xander couldn't believe the first thing I said on your network. You drafted the wrong guy. First thing I said with Jody and John, I think Devontae Smith went to the wrong team. Xander couldn't believe I said that. It was the first thing I said. He goes, you're crazy. Well, he's got 300-yard games and 28 games. I don't know. I don't think he sucks. I think he's underutilized. Eagles passed over Micah Parsons and Justin Jefferson. Can you imagine in consecutive drafts if you had done the right thing and drafted? Now, look, I'll say this about Parsons. The Cowboys didn't know they were going to land on Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons missed the COVID year at Penn State. And it's, remember, all of a sudden now Jerry Jones is like, oh, yeah, you wanted Patrick Surtain, the kid who's in Denver. So when the Cowboys are saying, yeah, we knew exactly Micah, that's not true. So, okay, Cowboys got lucky. The same way the Patriots got lucky with Brady. You get lucky sometimes. Everyone's like, God, the Patriots, man, they drafted Brady. Yeah, they missed on him 5 times, too. They passed on him. If Brady was this guy, you pass on him 5 times, you got lucky with Tom Brady in New England. Belichick got lucky. You understand it. He got lucky. Well, the Patriots drafted him. Well, you passed on him 5 times for 5 stiffs who had made no impact on your team at all. Lane Johnson made Parsons his bitch. You still like to have Parsons on your team. Waddle and Chase were drafted earlier. Oh, really? Okay. Smith broke the rookie. Look at Dominique. You have the shittiest wide receiver records in pro football history in your Eagle organization. Do you understand that, right? It's the worst. No 100-catch receiver. Dolphins will have 2, maybe. They'll surely have 2 1,500-yard guys. You've never had a wide receiver with 100 catches. And the last time you had a 1,000-yard receiver, I'm assuming it was Macklin. It's not like you have these, 04 T.O., couple Deshaun Jackson years. Earlier with Quick. Carmichael's more of a tight end, flanker. Your tight ends have been great in Philly. But that goes along with the mentality of the offense and the organization. They run the ball, great tight ends. Kind of goes hand in hand. Chris Carter, did he really ever have 100 catch seat? I mean, did Chris Carter have 1,000 yards in Philly? I don't remember that. Yeah, look at Perez. Don't listen to him, guys. I'm not filling anything. Nothing's filling. Look, once again, take this game on Sunday as a way of looking at how your playoff picture. Look, Sunday's game is a microcosm of what is next over the next 7-8 weeks. Sunday's not, I think what really happens here sometimes, Xander, I think this is what happens with people sometimes. You're not going to be defined by Sunday's win or loss. You're defined by the collection of wins and what you've done and what you're doing currently. Your passing offense in the last month is nothing remotely close to when you started the season. There's all kind of circumstances that dictate why that is. We've talked about it just now. And it's not like you're playing poor ball. You've adjusted to loss of personnel. CJ, Goddard, injury to your left tackle. You want to know why you're not passing a lot more now? Why do you think you're not passing a lot now? You've got a left tackle that's struggling in pass protection. You got a tight end who's out. Why in the world would I want to get blindside strip sacks from a guy who's struggling playing left tackle and I have no safety valve and tight end any longer? So they've adjusted. That's not filling, my friend. That's facts. I remember Todd Stingston and James Trash. I don't feel so bad about that group, Sills. Joseph. Okay? I'm worried about Henry. Henry's a great player, man. Hey, I got to take a timeout, but I'm going to say this to you guys. If you had Jim Schwartz as your coordinator, I say you win that football game on Sunday by 7 or 8 points. If you had Jim Schwartz as your coordinator, I'd feel better about that. Yeah, I got that. I remember Todd Stingston. That's great, Joseph. Adjusting and still winning. Absolutely, Chris. Absolutely. All right, I got to take a timeout. NFL Coach of the Year candidates. Executive of the Year. Barrett Brooks in hour number 3 at 5:10. We will have him and get his thoughts. More on this Titans and Eagle game on Sunday. I think this is going to be the game of the year for these two teams. And then, of course, the December 24th game against the Cowboys should be interesting as well. Hit the like button. Hour 2. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted, revered.
Appreciated.
He is Action News.
He's compassionate. Honest.
And fair.
He is extremely dedicated,
Motivated. And always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Let me throw this at you here. Big Sills, hour number 2, National Football Show. Appreciate it. Where's that stat that I put up on my Twitter page? Let me read you this. Last 2 years. Look at these guys, man. Holy cow. You want to know what quarterback play is? Look at this. Best passer ratings. 500 attempts in the last 2 years. Minimum. Joe Burrow's number 1, 105.4. Rodgers, 103.8. Dak, 102.1. Patrick Mahomes, 101.2. And Tagovailoa, 100.9. Those have been your 5 best quarterbacks when it comes to quarterback rating in the last 2 years. Burrow went to the Super Bowl. Dak's $45 million. Mahomes won a Super Bowl and MVP and Super Bowl MVP. And Tagovailoa's undefeated this year. Game. Woo, man. Oh, my God. Did the 49ers beat in the Super Bowl? And tell me how those ratings have been turned into wins, Sills. Let's see. I thought I just did. Burrow won an AFC championship. Rodgers has won, what is it? This year they're down, surely, but in the last, you want to know, even with a bad year, he still won 13 ball games last year. So they won 20 games in the last 2 years. You've won 19. Just to be fair, if we want to go 2 years, that's what we're talking about here. And his quarterback is an MVP, reigning MVP, 2-time reigning MVP. The Dolphins may have the best offense in the league now, and Mahomes is the best quarterback in the game. Can't spell it out any more than that for you. Oh, and Mahomes was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. What a player. Unbelievable, man. Oh, and by the way, Nick Bosa of the 49ers was named the NFC Defensive Player of the Month. Holy cow. So now not only do you have players riddled all over that place on offense in San Francisco, now you've got Nick Bosa as the Defensive Player of the Year for the month, heading into playoff months, December and January. I think the Niners are playing good ball. Jimmy J. Mahomes is doing great things. He surely is. All right. Where do you want to go? You want to do Coach of the Year or Executive of the Year? I think both are very interesting as we're coming down now to the final 6 games of the regular season. Are you kidding me? Jimmy G is in that MVP race. One more victory, puts his ass up in there, gets him into playoffs. Jimmy J. Let's do the executives. I'm with you, Joseph. Here are my top 10 NFL executives and what they have done for their football teams so far this year, and the lead candidates for Executive of the Year. Now, I've told you guys, I get a vote for all of these awards from the NFL Alumni Association. The NFL Honors television program at the end of the year, I'm part of a panel that gets a vote. Former players and some media people get a chance to vote. Now, I'm not one of one. There's a bunch of guys that vote, but I do get a vote. And I have always, in the years that I have had that vote, always had my listener base, follower base, whatever, part of the decision on how I vote. If you ever notice, I vote on the top 25 teams in the United States every year for college football. And I post my ballot. I post my ballot so others can see it. Over at Dan Sileo Show, I post my ballot that I get every single week. And so this is kind of what I do here. So here we go. Number 10. I've got Duke Tobin, Bengals. I'm actually seeing the offensive line starting to come together for Joe Burrow. Do you know how many sacks last year Tennessee had in that playoff game against the Bengals? They had like 9 sacks in that game, that playoff game. Bengals still won. Do you know how many sacks they had in that game last Sunday? 1. They have cut that down. They're getting better. They have improved. And that is the key component for the Bengals' success. And it's why they're getting, remember, they started 0-2. They started 0-2. And they're picking up steam. And they just, like I said, beat the Titans. They were not afraid. Zach Taylor and his coaching staff did a great job on Derrick Henry. I don't believe Jonathan Gannon is going to do the same thing. So to me, I like Duke Tobin, man. I think Duke's done I think Duke has done a hell of a job the last 3 years in Cincinnati. Number 9. I've got Robinson of the Titans. Here's why. You lose A.J. Brown, you're still in the 3-hole in the AFC playoff picture right now. You've got 14 guys on IR. 14. The Titans, this team you're playing Sunday, the Eagles, you're playing a team that's got 14 guys. I've never heard of anything like this. 14 guys. And they're still in the 3-hole in the AFC picture when it comes to seeding if the playoffs were to start today. I think he's done a great job, man. He is that organization between Robertson and Mike Vrabel. It's well run. I just don't know if ownership really puts enough resources and money around that organization to really run through the tape and win a Super Bowl. I don't believe that. At number 8, I got Joe Schoen, Giants, general manager, brand new, coming down from the Buffalo Bills. There is no question that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen have just changed the entire landscape around. It kind of reminds me of Coughlin and Jerry Reese. When Jerry Reese and Tom Coughlin were winning Super Bowls and they were perennial winners in the NFC East, it reminds me a little bit of that stability. They're looking at what the strengths and weaknesses are when it comes to the players that are on the roster currently. They're maximizing every single guy that they have in that New York Giant roster. I personally don't believe in the Giants. I haven't all year, and I do believe the Eagles will sweep them. I just don't. I'm not buying the quarterback. I'm buying the coach. I'm buying the GM. I think they are really well coached and really well run. And I think it's been a grand slam. It's not only been a grand slam for Brian Daboll as the head coach, but it's been a grand slam so far with the general manager in New York with the Giants. This was kind of hard for me here at number 7. I got John Lynch here. The reason it was hard for me is because John Lynch and that organization spent so much money to get Trey Lance at number 2. And I think that's going to be the organization's undoing if this thing doesn't win a Super Bowl this year. I mean, I actually think that he is a really good general manager. Look at the roster that John Lynch has built. But you gave up a lot of equity to get into that 2-hole to get Trey Lance. That could end up being, at the end of the day, your undoing. However, if Jimmy G wins a Super Bowl, you can cover that Trey Lance move by moving Trey Lance. You'll never get the equity back in return. But you won a Super Bowl. And you're going to get leeway because you won a Super Bowl in spite of a bad quarterback move. How many times have you ever heard that? You won a Super Bowl in spite of a bad quarterback move. It's usually things that cripple organizations for 10 years. Right? Will, appreciate you coming aboard. I mean, to me, I don't know how they're going to overcome it, but I think John Lynch has built a hell of a roster. Number 6, I got Joe Douglas here, Jets. Here's another thing here. Here's another thing. And again, I'm going over my executives of the year so far. Duke Tobin, 10. Robertson, 9. Joe Schoen from the Giants, 8. John Lynch, 7. I got Joe Douglas, 6. Joe Douglas has hit on everything except the quarterback. Remind you of somebody? Got a lot of Howie in him. Joe Douglas. The difference with Joe Douglas and Howie, though, Joe's more of a personnel guy. Howie's not. Howie Roseman is not a very good personnel guy, in my opinion. He's not, let me take it back. He is good in personnel, just not talent evaluating when it comes to college kids. He's actually below average. Joe, I think, is better. This kid, Sauce Gardner's turned out to be somebody. They've added people later in the rounds in the offensive line and in the defense. There's some really good players there. So to me, I think Joe Douglas has really done a nice job. But the number one issue that he's going to have, like every other general manager has, is what to do at quarterback. Mike White can't be the answer. He can't. Unless you think Mike White is Garoppolo, you're still going to be searching for a quarterback, and that could be your undoing. Vlad, this Zach Wilson thing was horseshit when they did it. He had one season at BYU, and I'm like, you're taking that kid at 2? I don't see it. What significant thing did he do in college at Brigham Young? I never, you know who he reminded me of? A better version of Josh Rosen. Without the turnovers. And the injuries. Josh Rosen was always hurt and turned the ball over. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold never did what? Sam Darnold turned the ball over in college against Utah and Arizona State. Did you really think that was going to turn around in the NFC or AFC East and NFC South? He's a turnover machine. He was in college. Number 5, I got Brandon Beane, Bills. They've built a hell of a roster up there. They're still deficient in the run game, though. I would still say that they're still light in the run game. They need to get Josh Allen under control in the fourth quarter and in the red zone. There are 2 major issues. Tonight, you could see it play itself out. And you know Belichick is going to have a game plan towards those 2 weaknesses of the Bills. What's the 2 biggest weaknesses in Buffalo? Running game, red zone offense. They're not patient. Here, I'll tell you something that Patrick Mahomes said. Let me give you something that Patrick Mahomes said about last year versus this year. And I said this to you too. I think Mahomes a year ago got bored. And what I mean by that is, I think he lost his patience in methodically moving the ball down the field. And what would happen? They would end up trying to get big chunk yards because of his great arm and his great ability. And he had more turnovers, even though he had a great year last year. It wasn't quite the year that we had seen in previous years. I think they lost their patience a year ago. I think this year they're forced into being patient. Why? Because Tyreek Hill's not there. And he's got to spread it around more. And he has. Mahomes spreads the football around to everyone that's on that roster. Okay? So I think they've done a really nice job building that Buffalo team, but they've got to rectify that. We're going to see a little bit of that tonight. If Josh Allen, look for patience. Dude, it's okay to punt. It's okay to throw the ball out of bounds. And most importantly, Josh, it's okay to slide. 3 things Allen's got to do tonight. Throw the ball away. Punt. Slide. 3 things that take no athleticism, but smarts. That's why the guy in Philly is 10-1. The guy in Philly throws the ball away. They use special teams. And he slides. All those things is why Jalen's got a better record. He's fundamentally outplaying Josh Allen. He's not as talented, but he's fundamentally outplaying him. But then again, Brady doesn't have the ability that Aaron Rodgers does, but he fundamentally outplays him. See? You can have the most skill on the planet, but if you got a guy across the room that's smarter than you, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Hurts outthinks his opponent. Brady outthinks his opponent. Number 4, executives of the year. John Schneider, Seahawks. Dude, so after you realize you effed up in the Jamal Adams deal and you sent those picks to the Jets, who have now imploded some of those picks, the Gardner pick is part of that Jamal Adams thing, but so is Zach Wilson. John Schneider had to make a move with Pete Carroll. And what did they do? They moved Russell Wilson. They knew. They totally knew. They go and get a quarterback who no one wanted, no one thought of. He said, all we need is a guy to come in here, and all we have to have is a guy that could just follow directions and not go off the reservation. Russell Wilson, that guy that's in Denver, is a cancer. He thinks he's bigger than the organization. You know, that's the one great thing about Brady. Many things great about Brady. Brady never thought he was bigger than anybody on that team, and you knew he was. And he carried Xander has said the same thing about Hurts carries himself like he is the equipment manager, knowing full well everyone in that organization knows they go by the way of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts walks around the NovaCare Center like he's the equipment manager or some dude that works there. But yet he's the most important person football-wise in the building. Head coach, GM included. Okay? That's a page out of Brady. And I think they've done a great job. That's a great organization. Even after Paul Allen's death, they've kept the structure together in the front office there in Seattle. I thought that would look different because anytime you have a change in ownership, front offices always change. The front office in Denver's changed for the worse. The front office in Seattle has not. Number 3. Executives of the Year for Big Sills. I got Brett Veach. How about this? So you lose the best offensive weapon in your huddle outside your quarterback, and you're better this year. And you go out and you know fundamentally you can't pay $25 million for a wide receiver and $50 million for your quarterback. So what does the organization do? They sit there and have so much belief in their quarterback that their quarterback can throw them into any game and into any championship setting that they go like this. Can't do it. We have to have balance in our salary cap. And I'm sorry, but we're going to let a guy in his prime, Tyreek Hill in his prime, walk out the building. That must have been one of the biggest ego shots in the face for Tyreek Hill. You're not keeping me, and you'll keep Chris Jones? You got to be crazy. That's why AJ and Tyreek Hill were talking so much in the offseason. They couldn't believe organizations moved off them. The Chiefs haven't missed a beat. They haven't missed a beat. Number 2. Here are the top 2 executives of the year. By the way, recapping. Duke Tobin, 10. Robertson from the Titans, 9. Joe Shonin, Giants, 8. John Lynch, Niners, 7. Joe Douglas, Jets, 6. Brandon Beane, Bills, 5. John Schneider, 4, Seahawks. Brett Veach, 3, Chiefs. And here are the top 2. I got Howie Roseman at 2. Howie has put together the best roster in the NFC. The quarterback was never drafted to be the starter on this team. He got lucky a little bit. However, he still gets credit for the draft. But Jalen Hurts was not drafted to be the starting quarterback in this place. And I don't give a shit who you think you are when you say that. You don't pay a guy $35 million and then draft a guy in the second round and think he's going to take his job. You can't even explain that to your owner. He still gets credit for the pick because it's panned out. If you had to redraft Jalen would be a first rounder today. The 14 free agents are my concern. What window do you have when you have so many guys that will be up in contracts? You're going to have a completely different football team next year. The same team's not coming back because you have to address the quarterback salary. All those players are not coming back. Jordan Davis might be the only defensive tackle coming back next year. You understand that? He might be the only tackle coming back with Milton Williams. The rest of those guys will be free agents. They're not bringing Hargrave back at $14 million. And they're surely not going to bring Fletcher back at $14. TJ Edwards is a free agent. Kaiser White's a free agent. CJ Gardner-Johnson's a free agent. James Bradbury's a free agent. You're not signing all those guys. You're not signing them all. So there's a lot of guys. The Super Bowl window for the Philadelphia Eagles is today, not tomorrow, not 3 years from now. You have a 1-year window, potentially 2. It's as short as the 17 teams window. There's not benchmark guys that are signed under contract that are benchmark players, that are Pro Bowlers, that are young. Devontae Smith's the most underutilized player on that team. Jordan Davis looks like he could be somebody if he gets in shape. Landon Dickerson's good. Mulata's walked backwards this year. You're losing your center. Lane's still there. You're losing Isaac Seumalo too. He's a free agent. And you're losing Miles Sanders. Look at this. I'm awake. The only thing I'm pointing out is reality here. And he thinks it's bad luck when, boy, people must not talk to you in reality. Boy, I can't believe the cheerleaders you have in your market. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. What kind of sports talk do you do? Cheerleader talk? You're in a position right now where you got to win today. The Eagle team won't look the same. Your entire defensive front's going to look different. Your linebacking core, you can lose all of those backers. And Nakobe Dean has been a non-factor. You got to win today. My number 1 executive of the year is Chris Greer, Dolphins. Chris has brought in Tyreek Hill, drafted Jalen Waddle, believed in Tua Tagovailoa, fired Brian Flores, brought in a brand new head coach, brand new offensive coordinator, improved the defense, and they got the best offense in the National Football League right now. Look at this guy, Shakir. We have a 10-year window with half your team gone. With half your team gone. The artist. The real truth is good teams always add by subtraction due to free agency. Yeah, but artist, you think you get as lucky every year? Howie's track record hasn't been that way. And by the way, one more time, just to say it, I'm giving credit to Howie Roseman, and I think he had a great year this year. I do. But I'm giving him credit for lighting his own house on fire. Guy lit his own house on fire and rebuilt it. I guess. Hey, Will, you won't have to worry about Dallas ever being relevant. You will not. As long as the decision makers are in place the way they are today, it's more important for the Cowboys to have television ratings. At least in Philly. Philly tries to win the Lombardi Trophy every year. In Dallas, they try to win the Nielsen ratings. That's the difference between the Cowboys and Eagles. The Cowboys don't want to hoist up a Lombardi Trophy anymore. They want to hoist up market value for the and by the way, what do you think is more important to Jerry Jones and his family's success? Another Lombardi Trophy or the increase in value of his franchise as being the richest franchise in the world, valued at $10 billion? A stupid Lombardi Trophy to him? It's the reason why the top 20 television shows, 17 of them were Cowboy games. Guy doesn't give a shit about winning. He cares about some winning. Absolutely, Drew. As long as you got Jerry Jones running that thing, you ain't ever going to have to worry about it. You never have to worry about it. See, you know the star on the helmet that the Cowboys have? Every guy that gets that helmet thinks he's a TV star, and he is. He ain't going to win Super Bowls anymore. But you're going to be a TV star. Jerry cares about the growth of the revenue and the importance and the value of his franchise. It's the only. Why do you think he and his son do radio shows and TV shows every week? How many owners do you know in the NFL that does that? There's not one. Fans think they're going to win a Super Bowl every year. I don't know where you see. But by the way, are the Eagles better than the Cowboys? I don't see it. I don't see where the Cowboys are better than the Eagles. I do not see it. I think even Nick Sirianni's better than McCarthy. I just don't see it. He could care about all those scandals. You think he gives a shit about Odell Beckham being thrown off an airplane? Absolutely not. Since when does he care about that shit? Here, watch. Who am I? Hey, I'm just going in guns a-blazing. This is a comment made by a player who was suspended for weapons charges, and that guy Hardy. And the first interview he does with the media in Dallas, he goes, hey, I'm just getting ready to go back out and practice guns a-blazing. And you're like, guns a-blazing. Long live Jerry Jones, man. He don't care. At least the Eagles care about winning. The Eagles are constantly caring. Giving Howie credit for our success is like me pushing Sills down the stairs, then picking you up afterward. Yeah. Oh, very nice. Very nice. See, to me, that's funny. But to some snowflake in the media, oh my God, did you see that guy said he wanted to injure Sileo and push him down the steps? He didn't mean that like that, okay? Lighten up, Francis. I love our media, man. Ugh. Let me give you a little bit of this on what's, when I say that, so you guys know where I'm coming from. People hate Don Imus, right? Remember Don Imus, the radio guy? Who was more of a racist on the air, Don Imus or Howard Stern? It was Howard. But Howard's this new dude now. So they look at Imus as being that guy. But Howard did 10 times more racist and misogynistic things and all that other stuff. But the media now, they don't want to throw rocks at him. They'll throw them at Imus. Oh, I don't recognize the Howard guy now because he's terrible today. Guy made his bones on being Howard Stern, the guy who ripped into the Air Florida crash. Bernhard Getz, getting him on the radio. All that shit that made you sit and listen. Oh, my God, this guy's nuts. Now he tells you what a shitty person you are, and he hides in his house. Then again, I hide in my house as Xander. Crazy. Big Sills tells it the way it is. I'm glad Sills can take it because he sure could dish it out. Sean, at first I couldn't, Sean, years ago. Years ago I couldn't. Now it's like, it comes with the territory. Sills, can we still win the game if Henry gets over 100 yards rushing? GT, yes. Yes. But this is what you don't want. You don't want them limiting you to under 55 plays. Keep an eye on that. That means that Tennessee's gone on long, extended drives. They're not going to want Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball and give the Eagles opportunities and play sequences. Tennessee can't if Tennessee, you guys start to see this in this game on Sunday, 3 and outs. Tennessee's in a long game against the Eagles. Because that's the one thing, again, that the Eagles have done a really great job of. You don't really see a lot of 3 and outs. Would you agree that the Eagles this year has to be one of the best non-3 and out teams? Okay, on turnovers. or on possession changes. They just never are 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That's why the passing game doesn't fit what they're doing in Philly. Here's why. When you run the ball the way you do in Philadelphia, you own two things that are the two things outside of scoring points. That's the most essential things on winning games. Time of possession and field position. Philly's the best in the league at it. So when I tease you guys about passing yards, it's the here. I'm gonna kind of like kill myself here a little bit with this when I say this to you. Guys, the passing stat's the most overrated stat in the game today. You know it and I know it. But when you run the ball for 363 yards, there's no subtlety about that. You've killed the team. How many times have you watched the team throw for 450 yards and lose? Bunch of times. Okay? A bunch of times. Yes. Yes. When it comes to winning games, the passing stat, let's take a look at this, for instance. Look at how I started. Look at how I started the show off when I said, where's Jalen on this list? Drew, watch this. Here's the guys that are leading the league in passing. Mahomes, Super Bowl? Yes. Allen, no. Burrow, no. Brady, yes. Herbert, no. Smith, no. Cousins, no. Carr, no. Rodgers, yes. Golf, no. There's 3 dudes on this list that have Super Bowls. 3 dudes. Right? You can throw for 7,000 yards. The problem that you get with passing, and if you throw – Patrick Mahomes is on pace. Wow, thank you, Sills. Drew, thank you. Guys, know this. What's the number one thing if you throw the ball too many times happens? Kansas City has a shitload of 3 and outs because he's going to throw the ball 700 times. 700 times. You're going to have a shitload of 3 and outs. What's that mean? It means, why do you think teams like Tennessee can get back in the game? Doesn't Tennessee give Kansas City pretty much their biggest battles, don't they? Why? Tennessee's got Ryan Tannehill. Actually, do you guys agree? I've seen actually Tennessee go into Arrowhead and beat them. I've seen them go in there and beat them. And you're like, how did Tannehill? I've actually think I've seen them go in there and beat them in a playoff game. That passing stat could be one of the most overrated stat on the planet. The guy throws for 500 yards and loses. Shit, Brady in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. How many yards did Brady throw for in the Super Bowl against the Eagles in 17? Was it like 500 yards? And what did Foles throw for, like 368? 370 something like that, right? Brady threw for like 500 yards in that game and got beat. Brady has won a Super Bowl throwing for 153 yards in a Super Bowl, and he's lost a game throwing it for 500 yards. Am I right when I say that? Brady's had Super Bowls that he's thrown for under 200 yards. And Brady's had Super Bowls that he's thrown for over 500 yards and got beat. How many current starting quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl? Rodgers, Wilson, Brady, Stafford. Mahomes? It can't be many. Can't be many. Can't be many. Joe Flacco's not starting. Mike White is. The greatness of Mike White. Mike White is the starter. Good night almighty. We're going to do the Coach of the Year at the top of the hour here. Actually, Barrett Brooks is going to be with us at the top of the hour. So we'll talk to our friend at the top of the hour. Hey, Brady ate up most of those lists. Robert Quinn, his ass. Hey, TV. It gets to a point after a while. Big Seals don't mention you, man, if you're not doing anything. You know what I mean? I can't mention you, man. You kind of get like erased like from the tablets of like Egypt if you're not doing anything. Hey, does Robert Quinn play in Philly? I'm not at liberty to say. This guy's in the witness protection program. Hey, what happened to Robert Quinn? Well, you know, FBI went over and talked to Howie, and we had to put him in the witness protection plan. Yeah, man, he's now living somewhere in South Philly. We're not at liberty to say where he is, but he's in the witness protection program now. Whew. Last year he had 18 sacks. I know he killed it. Where's Waldo? Oh, man. How about Justin Jefferson named your offensive player of the month? That's got to kill people, man. That's totally got to kill people. Hey, by the way, I want to throw this at you guys. So Lamar Jackson left practice today. Quadricep injury. I'm telling you guys, do not let this offense of the Eagles start to affect Jalen Hurts' health. If you've got to protect Josh Allen in Buffalo, the Eagles, in my opinion, have to start doing a better job at protecting Jalen Hurts. I want Jalen Hurts for 17 regular season ball games, not 12, not 11. Lamar now is coming down to the stretch of the season where they need him the most. And you're being pulled out of practices now for quadricep injuries. Okay? Everybody gets banged up in a season. Okay? JM goes, he's 24, he's fine. Not the last 3 years he's been. He missed significant time last year and the year before that. You're telling me he's fine at 24 and he's missed significant time? Where's that? How is that feasibly a conversation where you think that that's not a problem if you're Baltimore and you're Eric DeCosta? You want to pay a guy $240 million in guaranteed money who can't play a full season? This ain't the NBA. I think this guy's starting to get worn down because the Ravens haven't done the two things. If you're going to run that, let me tell you something in Philly, what's going on. They're building that defense up on that side of the ball because they know that they have to take care of Jalen. And if you have that style, you can't have a sieve defense like you have right now in Baltimore with no running game and rely on that quarterback and not think he's not going to get worn out. I keep showing people this all the time. It's not so much about, is he a hit away? I want to show you something here. Here is Lamar Jackson, week 1. Week 2. Week 3. Week 4. Start to move down to week 8. Pounding on the same knee. Pounding on the same shoulder. Now I'm in week 11. Holy shit, I got 6 more weeks of this? Oh, no. You got another 4 after that. The point is, the head of the nail breaks eventually. The constant pounding, it's not whether it's a matter of time. It's just how much your particular body's going to be. This is why this is the hourglass on running backs. Constant. You pay Todd Gurley, he's finished. You pay Zeke, he's finished. It's not when. It's when your body surrenders. Constantly being hit. Your body's like a nail when you play that game. It's exactly like a nail. You keep pounding that same nail a million times, the nail will break. That's why running backs today, you see dual running backs now on most teams. Look at the quarterback. Look at Cam. Lamar's sick of Baltimore. I think Lamar's sick of Baltimore because they see what Tua got down there. Now, Tua's in a rookie contract. Lamar turned down $250 million. I don't know. Do you keep Waddle and Tyreek if you sign that guy to a $250 million deal? I don't know. I have no idea. I know Lamar's mom a little bit. Sills is spot on with that point, load management. It also, too, Art, it's about building the team. Jalen needs a really good defense. Why do you think Chip Kelly's stupid shit philosophy bombed in Philly? Why do you think Chip bombed in Philly, besides some of the dumbest personnel decisions, getting rid of Shady and all them guys? Why do you think he sucks so bad as an NFL guy? That guy believed you could run 85 plays. It wasn't so much about your offensive guys getting worn out. How many 3-and-outs did Chip Kelly have when he was in Philly? 1 million? You keep putting your defense back out there, they're going to be in a mash unit by midseason. Chip Kelly, who started out not too bad, it was a couple winning seasons, but then after a while, he destroyed the roster. He destroyed it. No, but everyone kept saying this. It's a matter of time before that roster gets worn out and everyone's hurt. And Chip Kelly must have had the most injured Eagle players in the history of being a head coach. He thought he could run 85 plays in the NFL every week with that up-tempo shit. Everyone's like, you only got 53 guys on a roster, not 150 guys like you had at Oregon. This guy had like 3 or 4 first-round draft choices at every position at Oregon. You don't have that in the NFL. Hey, Nate, right? Chip Kelly, after year 2, that guy was a walking 3-and-out. The whole freaking thing was, every time I watched Eagle games, every game was 3-and-out, 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 3-and-out. I mean, I'm like, that defense is never going to last. He was terrible after year 2. He was terrible. That defense was like in shambles in year 3. Shambles. 85 plays for an offense in the NFL. This fool ran the defense tired as heck. I did not like his style at all. GT, he ran that team into the toilet, and it was a good roster. Philly had a really good roster, man. I can't remember where I think I was in Southern California. And I used to say this about the Eagles, man, that's a good roster. It's a shame they're running that roster into the medic tent. You guys must have had 100. You guys must have had 20, 50 guys on IR at any time. He just destroyed it. His play calling, his clock management sucked the whole 9 yards. That's why when you're looking at Lamar here, and you're seeing him now, he was pulled out this morning for quadricep injuries. Is it concerning? Some would go like this. Well, we're getting into week 12 here, week 13 of the league. Yeah, but this is the third year in a row we're talking about injuries to the guy and being nicked up. I need him 100%. Let's not forget something about Hurts. Hurts had surgery last year, albeit minor. Okay? Albeit minor. Still, nobody likes to go under the knife. You're never the same. You're never the same when you go under the knife. Dream team. If Chip would have paced himself, that team would have went far. Absolutely chalk it up, sports. If he would have cut that thing down from 85 to 60 plays, 63 plays a game, and played management football, punted, played field position, worked the clock better, they'd have won 12, 13 games. They were good. But it fell apart too soon. I thought Chip would have cost us 5 years. Danny, you know what, I'll tell you what. Danny, I'll say this to you about Howie. Howie is given the autonomy by the owner to make a really tough decision to get rid of Chip and get rid of Doug and rebuild quickly. The only way, though, Danny, you can rebuild in today's NFL is if your quarterback's not making a lot of money and he's good. How do you think San Francisco is able to contend right now? Because Jimmy G makes $25 million and not $45 million. They're able to sign McCaffrey. They're able to keep Debo. They're able to do all that. All the teams currently right now that don't have holes in them are all teams that their quarterbacks aren't making top flight money. Look at the two teams in the NFC right now. And by the way, I don't think Dallas is second. I think Dallas is third. And Kirk Cousins makes $28 million, $29 million. He's not a $45 million guy. They're on a deal there. And look at the teams with the big quarterback monies in the NFC. The Bucs are in ruin. The Packers are in ruin. And the Rams are in ruin. All of those teams paid their quarterback. And all three of those teams had a 2-year window for Super Bowls. Am I right? Now, all of them are under 500. Even Brady, Rodgers, and Stafford, 3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, are underwater right now. They had a 1 or 2 year window. Bucs will never get back there. The Packers are on fumes, and the Rams are 4 years away from a first-round draft choice. Where do you think they're going? And now they're putting Aaron Donald on IR. Where do you think they're going? It's a great place to be if you're the Eagles right now. But it's going to be short-lived because you're going to have to eventually pay the kid. I don't want to give Hurts $40 million a year. Danny, I'm telling you, Danny, $40 million a year in 2 years from now will be a bargain. What you don't want to do is pay him $50 now because it shreds the team even more. And here's the conflict that Howie has. If you start paying Jalen Hurts $50 million, where are you getting the money? Because the cap's not going to go up that much next year. It's going to go from 181 probably to 204. You're still not – you got 14 free agents. That's why when I say the window for the Eagles is short-lived, it's because of all the contracts that are coming up. You got 14 of your 22 guys, contracts are up. And you think that's a Super Bowl window? That's a lot of work to do. You got $5.5 million of the Alshon Jeffries money coming off, and he's going to have cap space. Agreed. You still have 14 players to replace. What are you going to do? Go back in the free agency and the draft and hope that those guys have the same level of play that you had this year? That's quite a reach. You're really going to find another corner to replace Bradbury or CJ in your slot? You're going to find two linebackers as good as TJ Edwards and Kaiser White? Okay. Isaac Seumalo's gone. Miles Sanders is gone. J.C. Kelsey's gone. It's a lot of guys. Sean says, Seals, do you ever see the NFL being like the NBA and teams just pay the luxury tax if they want to stock up players? Sean, the new thing with the league CBA is they can defer any kind of big-time salaries that suck, like the Hurts or the Wentz salary. They could defer that out now over 20 years, and it won't be a cap bomb to their salary cap, and they can manage that. You're going to be able, like if you have bad deals now, you're going to be able to get deals where you can defer, like say you sign a guy to a $50 million deal. You're going to be able to defer that out 20 years and spread that money out more. Whereas before in the old CBA, you couldn't do it. Let me take a time out. We're going to have Barrett Brooks with us here at 5:10 Eastern time. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted,
Revered.
Appreciated.
he is Action News,
He's compassionate. Honest.
and fair,
He is extremely dedicated.
motivated, and always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Hour 3, Big Sills National Football Show. I just got a great text from my boy Ice Cube. He watches the show every day, and he wants to come on again. I think he's been on – how many times, Xander, has Ice Cube been on? 4? I think he's been on like 4 times, something like that. Ice Cube loves sports, man. 4 or 5 times. I think he's been on like, right? God, it's such an honor to have a friend like that. I get invited to so many things. He goes, hey, Xander and everyone, just so you know, I get invited to all these crazy things that he puts on in Los Angeles, right? And Big Sills has a problem like leaving the Dan Cave because I like my complex, so much. And he's like, dude, you got to get up here. I got a really great, we're going to be celebrating with Snoop Dogg here, his acquisition of Death Row Records. And he goes, do you want to come up? And he goes, you're one of the very few guys that actually knows Suge. And I said, dude, don't tell people that. He's like, no, you know him from UNLV. And I go, yeah, do you know Randall Cunningham? Hey, you want to hear? Hey, dude, I'm all good with a barbecue. Okay. How about this, man? Do you know Randall Cunningham played with Suge Knight? Randall played with Suge at UNLV. Yeah. Suge was a defensive tackle, and I think they were Mountain West, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, boy. You have no idea. Suge was playing with the Rams. Let me get here. Here's the Suge Knight story. Oh, and by the way, his college coach and I did a lot of work in Las Vegas, Harvey Hyde. And you know what his nickname is really? It's Sugar Bear. His nickname was Sugar Bear at UNLV. And they just dropped the bear part and put Suge. And his nickname at UNLV when he was a running rebel, actually he was an all-conference player. And they stopped it. And Harvey was the one that Harvey Hyde was his coach. And I'm great friends with Harvey. And Harvey used to he's one of the guys that introduced me to Suge back in the day. Sills, I want you to meet Suge Knight. And Suge, I think he was a bodyguard or something like that before Death Row Records or something, man. So I met him, and I met him even before that. He was playing with the Rams in 87. And I'm in a camp with him when he was with the Raiders too. So I'm playing football against him. And I played football against Suge Knight, and we became friends and shit like that. And yeah, probably not a shocker. I actually like the guy, man. He's just a little nutty for me, though, man. Hey. Yeah, he was. Yeah, artist Suge Knight was on the Rams, 1987. He was a Ram. By the way, guess who else was on the Rams? Big Van Vader, the wrestler. Vader was on the Rams. Leon White was a offensive guard coming out of Colorado, and he played with the Rams too. I don't know how long he played, but Big Van Vader was a Los Angeles Ram too. I knew him very well. Sills, you killed Tupac. Thank you, Sean. Never met him. I've never met Tupac, but if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know that Ice Cube follows me, and so does Luther Campbell. And those two guys are dear friends of mine. And Luther's a friend of mine to this day, man. I know. Today was a good day. I love Cube. Vader was just absolutely insane. By the way, NFL Coach of the Year, we're going to talk to our friend Barrett Brooks here in a couple minutes here at around 5:10. Mystery solved. Sills offered Tupac. There you have it, folks. Oh, I was at that fight, though. I was at that Tyson fight. My wife and I went to that fight. I got tickets to that fight, too. I believe it was the Peter McNeely fight. I have tickets to that. I think they were like $1,000, and I know Don King very well because he's got his offices in Miami. And his son and I are even better friends. And like when my wife first met me, she goes, you know Don King? I go, I've known Don King since I was 18 years old. Jimmy Johnson used to have him show up all the time to Kane's practices. And Don King would show up with Ali and Angelo Dundee. And those guys would show up to our practices. Shit, all those guys used to show up to our practices. Angelo Dundee, Ali, the Beast Mugabe, Hector Camacho. Shit, we had so many guys. Hagler showed up once, man. It was the Hagler-Hearns fight in Las Vegas. Jimmy went to it, and Hagler showed up to our practice. Coach Johnson used to have all them fighters show up, man. It was crazy. That's how George Foreman's been on our show, on this show. And I've been friends with George Foreman for about 25 years. Big Sills is about that life. Hey, man, Philly. Everyone always asks me, how do you know all these people? I don't know. Death Row was crazy. I went into the building a few times. I'll tell you this about going into Death Row back in them days. When you went into the office buildings at Death Row, I mean, I'd never seen more beautiful women in my life. I've never seen anything like it. Music playing through the intercom. You go into Shug's office, man. You're like, holy shit! You could play touch football in his office. Crazy time, man. Sills, come up, man. You got to see my office here at Death Row. So I show up there, man. There I am. I'm at Death Row Records. I got to be the only Italian guy in the building. Then everyone's like, yeah, he's all right. Here's Shug. It's all right. He's Italian. I go, what's that mean? He goes, well, you're not a white guy. you're an Italian guy. You're not a white guy, Sileo. That's what Jerome used to always say too, man. Jerome Brown used to go like this, Sileo, white guys don't run that fast, bro. I ran a 4.81 at 290. And this is when I could move. And Jerome goes, white guys don't run like that. White guys don't run like that, dude. Oh, man. Those were fun times, man. Those were crazy times, though. Oh, man. That lot of great times. A lot of great times. I've posted a whole bunch of pictures of Suge Knight and myself on my Twitter page. You can go to take a look at them, too. Sileo, mob ties. I have no idea what you're talking about. What is that supposed to say? Because I'm Italian? Okay. Seals, you can come to the cookout anytime. Sean, thank you for the invite, brother. Vanilla Ice is actually a Miami guy. I think my wife went to high school with him at Richardson High School in Texas. She said she thinks he went to school when she was there. My wife's from Texas, and I met her when I got to the Cowboys. And so she goes, I think Vanilla Ice. I go, he lives down in South Florida now, man. He's a big Hurricane fan. Anyway, all right. So until we get to Barrett Brooks, hopefully we catch up with him real soon. Napoleon pizza, authentic from Naples. It's kind of thick crust, though, right? I'm a thin crust guy. You have to touch your nose, right? Yeah. Still the Tony Soprano of football. What's that mean? 2 Live Crew? Nate. One last 2 Live Crew story. So my folks are like very Italian. My aunt, all these. I grew up in an Italian household. And they spoke Italian half the time. No kidding. My folks spoke Italian half the time. And my aunt knows this. So I was raised in this really Italian family. And so this was during the time with 2 Live Crew and Luther was getting arrested. I was the only dude that Jerome and Luther, I got to tell you guys this. Jerome Brown, when he got drafted to the Eagles, he bought Luther Campbell a BMW. Luther has it in his garage to this day with 5 miles on it. He's never driven it since Jerome died. He's never driven it. Luther did so much for Jerome. He was like his sugar daddy. He was mine too, because Jerome did it. Yeah, and so he would hire all these UM guys. You always see the Hurricane stuff on his albums, right? And so he would hire the Hurricane guys to do like security for his events down in South Florida or anywhere in the South, like Georgia or New Orleans. And he would fly us up. And so I'm doing security there. I'm the only Italian guy that's on the stage. And they're like, what are you doing here? What are you, a cop? I'm like, no, man. I'm part of security here for Luther. Luther goes, oh, that's my boy, man. That's my boy, Big Sills, man. That's my boy. It was all because of Jerome. Oh, it's fun times, man. And my family goes, I just saw a commercial for the news about this man who was arrested, Dan. This is my grandmother. His name is Luther Campbell. He was saying peas and hoes. What are you hanging out with? It's the record business. It's, peas and hoes? Who is Luther Campbell? I couldn't tell my grandmother saw the guy finally on the news and they were ripping Luther. He was getting arrested all the time. We were like always having to get him bailed out. That was crazy times, man. Oh God. Luther's been on here. Hey, Dan, maybe you should have a 2 Live Crew Award for the Eagles. Hey, Brooks is late because he's chasing down goats on his horse farm. I heard that shit, man. Dude, don't get horses, get the goats. The goats will eat the damn grass for you. Okay? Luke shut down the Greek picnic. Hey, it was really good. Hey, it was the great. Guys, I'll tell you this. It was by far the greatest education I've ever had in my life. I went to a predominantly Catholic white school with white people in Stanford. And when I got to Miami, it was the greatest education I ever got. You know what's funny today? I see what's happening in Philly, that cop and all that stuff and everybody and what they're doing. You know, the greatest place I ever had and the best freedom I ever had was being in a locker room with my teammates. Because everything, you could say anything you want, didn't matter. And nobody held you accountable for maybe saying something dumb. My problem's been outside the locker room. See, people always go, it's a microcosm of society, a locker room. It's not true. It's not true. We're taught racism as we get older. When I was a kid and I was really young, I didn't know the difference between black and white. That was taught to me. And when I got to my locker room and I got to play with professional football, it had nothing to do with race. It had nothing to do with anything. Sexuality, religion, politics. It had everything to do with one goal, winning. And that was the best thing about being in a high school, college, professional locker room. There was one goal. That was to win. And we all knew the only way to win is that we had to do it together. We can't do shit in this country together. The only place, and it's why people gravitate to sports, because you got 25 or 53 men that have to make something happen. And they have to work together. You have to work together. Look at the Eagle guys. How much they enjoy going to work at the NovaCare Center every day. That's one thing that's been evident this year with that Eagle team. They completely enjoy playing football together. They enjoy it. They enjoy one another's company. They enjoy their coach. It's an atmosphere that is important for success. Nobody likes to go to work hating their gig. Nobody. Nobody likes to show up and go to work and they hate everybody in the building. Nobody. I always tell folks this. If you're trying to make $1 million, you'll never. If you do something that you have great passion for and you love, you'll get there. It's just about chopping wood. You keep chopping wood and you don't surrender and you don't wave the white flag, you'll outwork people. Because passion is more important than talent. How many times does talent fail? We see it every day. Look at Antonio Brown. Here's a guy on his way to Canton. And now the only way that he can make any kind of news is being a criminal. You have gone from being a 100-catch guy and a guy who's considered one of the greatest receivers of all time in the modern era to being a criminal. And the only way you can get any news about yourself now is throwing shade on Tom Brady, who did everything in his power to help you, an organization in the Buccaneers who gave you a chance, and now you're a criminal. That's sad. What would Sonny say in Bronx Tale? Wasted talent. Don't be that guy. Wasted talent. Right? Just a waste of talent. He'll look, by the way, that Antonio Brown thing ain't ending well. We all know it. No one wants to say it, but we know it ain't ending well. Okay? That guy has no, I'm actually pretty proud of T.O. T.O.'s trying to make it land well for him. Tyson, too. I still have my doubts on Tyson and how it will finish. But Tyson's at least trying. Okay, Antonio Brown, this guy's going to prison. Damn shame. Broncos hate going to work. They have to hate going to work. You're looking at a guy who thinks he's better than the team. And you're all in it together, man. If the Titanic is going down, okay, Russell Wilson is the captain of the Titanic. He wants to jump off a ship and have his own rowboat and let everybody else sink. What kind of shit is that? Tyson's wife is the best thing in his life right now. Hey, so sad to say, we see it all the time in the hood with those in the pen now. Hey, I'm a big believer in rehabilitation. I believe everybody should get a second chance in life. We'll never forget some of the incidences that people do, but I do believe in people being able to right the ship. If you have a dent in the fender, we all have dents in the fender. And I think everybody should be given an opportunity. Funny, when it comes to the media, I'm the only one that doesn't get it, though. Not feeling sorry for myself. I'm very proud to be here every day with you guys. But it's true. You know, I was scheduled to go on with Jim Rome and do the Rome show for a while. Nope. People in my business got to them. It's crazy. Russell Wilson, I don't know what happened there, dude. Pete Carroll was right. Pete Carroll was right. I saw that, Chris. That T.O. just kicked somebody's ass. I saw that. I think that guy had it coming to him, though. I hate work, but they pay me well. SB. Hey, watch this. I hate this mother. My paycheck, though, man. My paycheck every 2 weeks looks pretty decent. I'm good. The only way you have me here. I've done that too, SB. Trust me. The only reason I'm here, man, every 2 weeks, I make a pretty penny. Yeah. Marco Sills, you're the GOAT. Thank you, man. So they wouldn't trade you for any of those other media guys. That's nice, Marcos. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. That's really kind. Yeah, hey, don't get too gushy in here because people start shitting on me here in a minute. Okay? We are your set. Hey, look, Lucius. Yes. See, that's the best response right there. Look at this. We are your second chance, you meatball. Thank you, Nick, very much. Yeah. All right. Listen, I'm going to get into the coach of the year as we wait for Barrett. I know Barrett's got something to do. Hopefully we're able to catch up with him. If not, that's cool. By the way, coaches that are on the hot seat, according to Vegas and Atlantic City, who could be the next coach is fired. Let's get into the coach of the year. Here are the candidates for the coach of the year. Where did I love you, Sills. When you're not shitting on the birds. I'm not shitting. Michael, stop saying that. Stop saying that. Not shitting on the birds. You kidding me? Michael, this is the fun. Is funnest? This is the best time I've had talking to people in sports in 10 years. In 10 years. The Mighty 1090 job that I had in Southern California, based in San Diego, was the old Wolfman Jack station. 85,000 watts and went all the way up to San Francisco through LA and everything. Okay? All of it. All of it. And the people here are better. Okay? Here's Xander. That's because you are the ultimate heel. Big Seals is the ultimate sports talk heel. Maybe. Maybe that goes back to my wrestling background. Okay? But I have had so much fun with you guys. And I was third in the market in Southern California. You know American Graffiti? The radio station that Wolfman Jack was in? That was my station. I did the same shift that Wolfman Jack did. You guys probably, some of you don't even know who he is. But it was one of the biggest, it's still one of the biggest stations in the country. And I was third in the market. And I'm like, these people, man. I mean, nobody liked college football. Then again, you guys don't like college football either. All right, let's get to NFL. Let's get to the NFL Coach of the Year candidates here. Showmanship? I am about that. I think people have to be entertained today. You guys are going to miss Angelo so much. Hey, you guys are going to miss Angelo so much, dude. Whew. Yeah, Barrett's probably tied up in the NBC studios. It's cool, man. If he's not here, like I tell you guys this all the time, Big Sills doesn't need guests. I want guests. Okay? So if he shows, watch this. Yeah, he shows. He's my guy. We had a great me and Barrett, for the first time, I learned how to FaceTime. So we were FaceTiming the other night. I love that guy. 12-year veteran. Played his ass off. Man, I really love Barrett Brooks. And I mean, I do. I love D Gunn a lot, too. Rob? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I like Rob, too. Rob's real good. Actually, Rob's gotten way better. Okay? He really has. Those two other guys have really played a factor on it with Sports Take. So those two guys have gotten better. Okay? Would you ever work for ESPN, Sills? Absolutely not. What, are you kidding me? Work at ESPN? If I worked at ESPN, I would have to be Howard Stern today. I didn't say that. Will you stop it, Xander? I love Rob. Are you kidding me, man? You stop that, man. Who's Jody Mack? I'm kidding. I like Jody, too. He does a great show, and he's a legend. He's been doing sports talk in Philly and in New York for the longest of time. Does a great job. John McMullen and him on that show. Birds 365. You guys got to check it out. I check it out. Would ESPN offer you a job? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can't have a guy like that with views like me. Because here's the first thing, W2. I think it's okay if you don't want to take a knee for Colin Kaepernick or take a knee. It's up to you. It's individually your own prerogative. But networks want you to follow an ideology, and I don't. And some would say, well, what do you think, Sills? I go, it's up to each individual what you want to do. Either you want to support the flag or you don't. But that shouldn't be a network policy. But see, I couldn't get a job there because the network policy is that you take a knee. That's why ESPN has lost 22 million viewers in the last 7 years. Okay? I think everybody has a right to make that decision. If you want to take a knee, fine. If you don't, it's America. Now you are a casualty to your decisions or a benefactor to your decisions, but they're yours, not a network's. And most of the networks in the Northeast, okay, they're liberal. they sell liberal advertising, not conservative. And I'm not saying I'm conservative. I root for America. Okay? So what's happened in our country is people are trying to take your decision-making out of your hands through ideology and company policy. I find that atrocious. Every individual has a right to fail and succeed. You don't have that right to pave my road. You don't. But they do. And that's why certain guys are here and certain guys will be here. Okay? Networks today, if you don't have this ideology, you can't work there. You can't have an opinion. Listen to 97.5 or WIP in Philly and listen and see how far they don't go anymore. You know when those stations were great? 10 years ago. Mike, Howard, okay? Angelo. Angelo's being forced out. Don't kid yourself. Guy makes a ton of money and nobody in radio pays it. Let's change gears. NFL Coach of the Year. Oh, when IP was on AM, it was sensational radio. Sensational radio. Sensational. Big Sills got the most entertaining Eagles show on YouTube. That's very kind of you, Birdman. Hey, Angelo to JAKIB, make it happen. I love that. You guys still got Pauly Short over there, right, running them stats. He had some good stats today. We kind of lined up right. For the first time, we kind of lined up right here. All right. Here are my NFL Coach of the Year candidates with 6 to go. Number 10. Big Red. Andy Reid's not getting enough love here. When you bring up the NFL Coach of the Year and Big Red's not in it, Andy Reid loses Tyreek Hill. Their team's better this year. They're 9-2. And because it's Andy and it's Mahomes, you get no credit for that. I think Mahomes is having a great year this year. That guy's going to throw the ball for 700 attempts. You got to have Big Red, man. Oh, Elton, that is so nice of you. You got that, Sills? You are AMWIP. It's quite a compliment. Thank you, Elton. Thank you. Number 9. The reigning NFL Coach of the Year. You're going to see him on Sunday, Mike Vrabel. God, is he a great coach. God, do they play for him. Can I tell you something about Mike Vrabel that you're going to love? Mike Vrabel is like, I'm going to make a comparison to you. Years ago, I got a chance to meet the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan. It was for the national championship game. We played Penn State, okay? And Reagan's in the elevator at this resort that we were at in Scottsdale. He came out for the game. Bob Costas did it. It was enormous. 200 million people watched that game that night. And so 100 million people watched that game that. It's the most watched college football game to this day. And the president was there. And he had some of the guard and people in his entourage around him. I'll never forget, we're in the elevator and he goes like this. Hey, Willie, how's the wife's gout? Fine, Mr. President. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. He goes, you need anything, let me know. Reagan gets off the elevator. Everyone goes, I go, this guy knows Willie's wife's name. And she has gout. I go, that's why that dude's the great communicator. Mike Vrabel's like that. He'll have a conversation with guys and he'll never forget. He like stores it away. Hey, how's the kids doing? Hey, how's the wife and her sister doing? And players respond to that because it shows that you give a shit about them personally. Joe Madden told me something years ago, and it was one of the best things I ever heard. I go, Joe, how do you communicate with all your guys in the locker room? He goes, well, I have to have a personal relationship with each and every single one of these guys so that when I'm going to be a little bit constructive, they don't take it as destructive. And I thought that was the best information I ever got from a manager or coach. Joe's not trying to be destructive. He's trying to be constructive. And the only way you can do that is if you have a personal relationship with everyone you talk to. Because if you don't, then someone takes it as you're screaming at them. How many times have you gone to work with somebody and he just starts screaming at you and you're like, fuck you. And you're like, where you come? But when someone hollers at you and tells you something that you know they're coming from a place of love, it's different, isn't it? But they could tell you the same message. Mike Vrabel's that guy. He's that guy. This is going to suck. I hate putting this guy's name here. I hate it. I got to put Mike McCarthy at 8. Guys, here's why I got to put Mike. Okay, so when they lose Dak, they go on an undefeated streak with Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is Cooper Rush for a reason. He sucks. And Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys, they rolled through that. It kept him in the season because of the job they did with Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn and Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, man, I mean, look, I think it's the toughest job in the NFL. It could be the toughest job in football. And he's righted the ship. Okay, he's righted it. Number 7, Kyle Shanahan. I'll tell you this, man. Like you guys say, you guys don't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo, but they win games. They win games. Now, the question with Kyle Shanahan is going to be, can he win the game? We all agree Kyle Shanahan can win games. I don't know if there's anybody in here that doesn't go like this. Kyle Shanahan, he can't win games. He wins games. But can Kyle Shanahan win the game? He has a massive X next to his name on what happened to him as the OC in Atlanta as the coordinator there. He's up 28-3 and you lose a Super Bowl? Come on, dog. Right? I'm not sure he ever gets around that one. Number 6, I've been impressed with Kevin O'Connell from the Vikings. He's taken Mike Zimmer's team and made him viable. They're 9-2. I get it. You know what the problem that I do have, though, with the Vikings? How many people would go like this? Vikings have a great record, but I don't believe they're physical. Do you think that's a fair statement about the Vikings? You guys think the Vikings are physical? I don't. I balk at saying that they're soft, but would we not go like this? Okay, will we not go like this? They just don't seem tough. Drew, thank you. Very kind of you, man. Okay? Here's who I have at number 5. Now we're starting to get into the top 5. Here's where we are with 6 remaining. My top 5 NFL Coach of the Year candidates. At number 5, I would never have ever thought from the beginning of the first quarter poll of the season, which is the first 4 games, that I would put this guy in my top 5. How do we not have Ron Rivera there? they were, after the Eagles beat them up in that first game, did we not do this? That's the worst O-line in the NFL. It's the worst quarterback play. Their secondary's terrible. That team, ownership is the worst. It's chaotic. It's not only chaotic, but it is also toxic. It's a toxic building with chaotic management. How are you winning? How are you winning? And they're getting better. If Ron Rivera gets that Washington Commanders team into the playoffs, I may have to give him the Coach of the Year award. That thing was dead in the water. Dead in the water. You got a $32 million a year player on the bench, healthy. Crazy. Number 4, dude, Pete Carroll's turning out to be right. Okay? I think Pete Carroll, he's right. He wanted to move off of Russell Wilson last year, and people gave him shit. He probably stuck with Russell Wilson 1 year too long. Pete probably kicks himself right now for not blowing that guy out a year ago. He knew it. His team's better. They're fighting the Niners out for the NFC West. What a job of coaching by Pete. 70-year-old Pete Carroll. I'll tell you what, I hope I have that energy when I'm 70. That guy runs around the yard like he's 40. Number 3, I got Brian Daboll. That guy has completely changed the culture around from Dave Gettleman, who sucked as general manager. I mean, Dave Gettleman was terrible. The Eagles have like 7 O-linemen that could start anywhere in the NFL. The Giants under Dave Gettleman didn't have one. One in 5 years. That was the worst general manager maybe in the history of the New York Giants. Those dumbass hires that coach, I mean, they were terrible. Now Brian Daboll's gone in there with Dimes Jones winning games. Unbelievable. Number 2, and I think it's 1 and 2. I think these guys, if you want to tie them, that's fine with me. I got Sirianni here. By the way, if you said Sills 1 for Sirianni and Mike McDaniel from the Dolphins, the only reason I'm giving Mike McDaniel from the Dolphins the nod at number 1 is because he's a first-year coach. And this guy looks like he belongs selling ice cream cones. You see that cool little thing that he did the other day with Tua? He was talking about his YouTube when he was at high school or something like that in Hawaii. And he goes, man, your technique sucked. I thought it was freaking funny as shit. They're on the sidelines like that, in the middle of an in-game like that. I'll tell you this, man. As much as he's an analytical coach, I got him at 1 only because he's a first-year guy. But I'll tell you what, was he with the Rams? Was that guy the OC with the Rams? Was he with the Rams? Is that where he comes from? Because they miss him. Okay? No, that was the Vikings head coach. Where did this kid come from? Because, boy, I'll tell you, man, he has been – he came from San Fran? San Fran. He came from Kyle Shanahan. Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Mike McDaniel, I love this guy. He sits on the sideline. He goes right over to Tua. He goes, I was bored. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. In the middle of the game. I was bored and shit. You sent me all your YouTube stuff. I thought it was hilarious. By the way, I watched you. Something to do with Trent Dilfer. He goes, by the way, you sucked. Your technique sucked. And Tua just looked at him and went, hey, the guy won national championship at Alabama. He goes, man, that technique just sucked. And I'm sitting there. You see what I'm talking about? Personal relationships, though? And how important that shit is? Most coaches can't walk over to a guy and go, hey, you sucked in high school, man, without someone going, hey, who the fuck are you? Instead, Tua's laughing. Because you know why? For the first time, Tagovailoa has had a coach since Saban go, I believe you. I believe you. And when you look someone in the eye and tell them that, they know when you're flinching. Brian Flores flinched how many times to Tua? Never bought into the guy. He wanted Watson. It's okay. I get it. And my only issue with Tagovailoa is his health. I'm not bought he can play 10 years. I got Sirianni too. Nick, my only problem with Nick, and again, let me quantify this when I say this to you guys. Nick Sirianni is a lot like Dan Sileo. His passion and his emotions are his greatest asset. They're also his worst. I think he gets too emotionally amped up. Like this week for A.J. Brown, I don't need an amped up coach. I need a level-headed coach because A.J.'s going to be jacked up. And you need to keep that player's emotions in check. A.J. is going to have so many emotions because you know what they told him? Now, he never wanted to leave Tennessee. He loved Tennessee. Ask him, he'll tell you numerous times. He didn't want to go. But when they kept offering him less, his agent kept putting up bigger money, and the Titans kept coming back with less dough. So your coach has to keep you grounded. Nick doesn't. I think Nick struggles with that still because he's an emotional guy. He's genuine though. That's why you don't kill him too much with it, because you know why? It's coming from a place of him being genuine. It's okay. You know, I'd rather have a guy fail who's genuine than a bullshit artist. Because I hate that guy. The one guy who tells you something, and as soon as you walk out the room, he didn't really mean it, and he's telling somebody something completely different. Those are the worst people on the planet. I hate those people. You know, I got very few people in my circle of life like that, where to me, I love genuine folks. Hey, Sil, you know what? My wife tells me to go to hell every day. So does my kid. But you know what? They tell me the truth every day, and they're my biggest fans, and so does my aunt. So does Zan. I love people like that. That's why I kind of like you guys. I hate yes people. Always been a problem for me. Women, bosses, yeah, Dan, yeah. And everyone in my business, in the radio business, is a bullshit artist, believe me. See, let's get your singing voice ready. 23-20, baby. Titans, Sunday. How you doing? Titans on Sunday, baby. All right, let Big Sills take a timeout. I do want to hit on some of these awards that came out for coach and for players of the month. I want to hit on that. College football is also expanding to 12 teams in 2024. Odell Beckham Jr. may have picked a team. I'll tell you where that is. We'll do it next. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted.
Revered.
Appreciated.
He is Action News.
He's compassionate. Honest.
And fair.
He is extremely dedicated.
Motivated. And always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Big Sills National Football Show. Appreciate you coming back here. By the way, hey, Xander, if Barrett pops on, just see if we can do it tomorrow with him. So we appreciate everybody coming aboard with us here too. So, okay, no problem at all. We'll get there. I appreciate the way everybody came aboard here. By the way, Odell Beckham, here are the three teams that he has narrowed it down to on where he'll sign. The Buffalo Bills, Dallas Cowboys. I don't get the Giants. I don't get the Giants. I mean, is it because they're going to tell him that they're going to move on from Daniel Jones? Why would Beckham want to play with a quarterback who can't get him the ball? It just doesn't seemingly make sense to that, you know? It's just, I mean, why would Beckham go there? Josh Allen, can you imagine Odell Beckham and Stephon Diggs in that offense, and plus that other kid who's having a great year as a number two? You'd have a three-headed monster if you put Beckham in that Bills offense. I think the Bills need a running back, but if you add Odell Beckham into that offense, that would be enormous. So those are the three teams. And from what I'm understanding, December 5th, he's meeting with the Cowboys. I don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in. I mean, you're talking about a knee injury, and you're talking about 2 consecutive knee injuries now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, is this Odell Beckham, New York Giants, Odell Beckham the first time? This guy's been hurt in Cleveland. He's hurt in the Rams. And now we're sitting here thinking, he's got a market, though. Imagine Beckham in Minnesota. Imagine Beckham in Miami. Mr. International, can you imagine putting Odell Beckham down there with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill? You might have 3 guys with 1,000 yards and receptions. You like Hassan. I love me some Hassan. Oh, my God. Can you see Derrick Henry Sunday with Hassan Reddick? I'd be like, come here, little man. Hey, can you see? Hey, here's Derrick Henry. Come here, little man. Let me hook you up here. No. Here's Here's Derrick Henry, and he sees Hassan Reddick. You ready for this? Woo, woo. Yeah. All right, my friends. Hey, we apologize about Barrett. I know Barrett's probably tied up at the NBC studios there in Philly. All good. We love him. Probably join us tomorrow. So we appreciate everybody. Have a great time tonight. By the way, I got Bills over New England in a close one, 27-21. Till tomorrow, 3 to 6 Eastern. We'll see you then. God bless you. Xander, thank you so much. We'll see you on the flip side.